So how do you make the varsity track team? Well, I've got 3 tips for you coming up next. Hey, what is going on, y'all? Welcome back to MJP TV, where we put track and field first. I am MJP. I just want to thank you for clicking on my video, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. I see 75% of you guys aren't subscribed, and that's actually a good thing because it shows I'm reaching more people. So if you think about it, consider subscribing. And so just a forewarning, this video is specifically for sprinters, but I think you can still find value out of it even if you aren't a sprinter, so stick around. Okay, so tip number 1 for you guys is to make sure you are in shape and healthy before tryouts or preseason training. And so what you want to do specifically for sprinters is make sure you have a strong core, make sure you have strong shoulders and strong hips. So, and let me just go into detail about some exercises you can do to help out with that. Okay, and so for abs, there are a ton of ab circuit and ab exercise videos on YouTube, but one I'll definitely recommend is FastU. So if you look up Fast University on YouTube or at FastU University on Instagram or Twitter, they have great ab routine workouts. Coach Will does an awesome job curating those. And so look up ab circuit routines, make sure you do, I would say you can do abs almost every day. You know, it's not gonna, your abs won't give out after you do it 3 days in a row. Just make, as long as you don't overkill it, right? But just make sure, have a strong core coming in. And then for your shoulders, some exercises you can do are crab walks, you know, when you're on all fours, pike push-ups, and then plank ups. So you can look up those exercises, and those are really good for getting your shoulders strong, because what you want is to have good arm action, especially as a sprinter. So working on your downswing and your upswing, you want to have a strong shoulder to be able to generate the power, because your arms are what generates power for your legs, right? So make sure you have strong shoulders. And then to make sure you have strong hips, make sure you do glute raises or glute bridges. That helps. And then also hip thrusts in the weight room. So that way you'll have powerful hips, as well as doing hip stretching exercises. So that way you have full range of motion in your hips, because that's what's going to allow you to drive your knee up and get the stride length and stride frequency you really want. So make sure strong shoulders, strong core, and strong hips coming into tryouts or preseason practice. The second tip is to make sure that you are a good teammate, because that's always going to be a plus in the coach's eye. If you're difficult to work with, or, you know, overly aggressive or passive aggressive and not a good person, normally, unless you're very, very talented, that's talent trumps all, right? But normally, you know, a coach wants someone who's going to mesh well with others, right? And even though track is an individual sport, like, you have to practice with these people, you know, 3-4 times a week. So if you're abrasive, that's really not going to mesh well. And just, you know, be an addition to the team, right? You don't want to, in a positive addition, you don't want to be a negative addition. But just make sure you're a good teammate. And, you know, that doesn't mean you have to be friends with everybody, but be friendly at least. But, you know, you're going into high school, so I know those social situations can be real complex. So, you know, that might be asking a lot, but it goes a long way. Okay, and then number 3 is to make sure you perform to the best of your abilities, whether that's a one-day tryout or, you know, what I experienced my freshman year was just the preseason practice and making sure you show great effort and you surpass the expectations that they have, or try your best to surpass them, because, you know, you won't always do that. But I remember as a freshman, because I was blessed to be on varsity as a freshman, but I remember the first meet I was on JV. But, you know, it was because I followed the tips I gave y'all, and I was, you know, consistent with my effort, and I showed that I cared. Then I got bumped up to varsity after just one meet, right? And of course I had, you know, the hard work put in already to make sure I reached that level. But getting on varsity, even as a freshman, is a very, you know, tangible goal, as long as you put the work in ahead of time, you know, strengthen, you know, those different areas. And of course, you know, you can do some running and stuff, but that's what training is really going to get you into, because you don't want to do too much training beforehand. And so that way, you know, your body might give out midway through the season because you overworked it in the off season. So work the things, you know, and you'll know your deficiencies too if you have a good coach or if you've studied your film. So that way, you know, coming into high school, you can get on varsity as fast as possible. And I know not everyone's going to make varsity as a freshman, but hopefully these tips will help, expedite that process so that way you can get on varsity as soon as possible, because getting on varsity is going to expose you to something that's really going to help you grow. And so that's running against people who are older than you, right? Because that's what you're going to have to do in college if you want to become a D1 athlete. And so I remember just as a freshman getting my tail whipped like every meet, but it was because I could see, it helps you see the level you want to get to too. So if you're really hungry, if you really want it, it'll light that fire in you, right? And so essentially just make sure, you take that experience and take those licks essentially. And it's going to be invaluable. Just value those losses so that way when you win, eventually, whether that's your sophomore year or even your freshman year, your junior year, or your senior year, you appreciate it. So just make sure, take all these tips. I want you to have the best high school track experience possible. And to me, the best is to make sure you get on varsity. And some people won't make it, of course. Not everyone can. But hopefully these tips will help you get as close as possible. And so that way you can enjoy your time on varsity. Because varsity, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Because you don't just go to like 2-3 meets. You go to a ton of meets compared to JV. And so it really exposes you to the best that your area has to offer as well. And so just that competition too. Now I went on a little tangent there, but I think it's very valuable information, especially, for freshmen coming up now. I wish someone had made a video like this for me. I know there are other videos as well. And so, just take in all the knowledge you can ahead of time so that way you're prepared. That's really what I want you to be, is make sure you're as prepared as possible so that way you can do your best, right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed these tips. I'm going to plug all my stuff right now, but if you haven't, check out my hoodie. I'll have it linked in the description. I'll have it somewhere on the screen here. Make sure you follow me on social media at MJPTV0 on Twitter and Instagram. And so I just want to thank you guys again for watching my video. If you haven't already, make sure you like, share, subscribe. And for the people who ran track, what helped you get on and stay on varsity when you were in high school? So y'all have a great day. God bless. I'm out.